Hello everybody who is watching, welcome to the ToniSport Newsfeed. I'm Patrick and I'm back for you with a new video. Today I want to talk with you about the use of a tweak station. In the last couple of years I never had my own tweak station and I used setup wheels and I used my tools to tweak the car. I did it a lot per eye measurement when lifting the car. I always checked that the tires are lifting at the same moment and stuff like that. I always checked that my preload on the springs is not too different from left to right. Then I always checked the weight balance by lifting the car and checking where it's pending to. So I always had a good feeling with my car. The car was never a completely tweaked shit, but I tried the setup system of Lucas Urbain a couple of weeks ago at a race, at a ToniSport race at my home track, and I could see that my car was good, but it was never perfect like his. And yeah, Lucas was so kind to tell me how he is tweaking his car on the tweak station, and then I got my hands on the tweak station from Hoodie. For example, I use it now, and there are some other tweak stations on the market, and as long as the tweak station is produced in a perfect way with straight parts and with a good water scale, you could probably use all the tweak stations out there. I think in the ToniSport shop you can get the Hoodie tweak station. The Aeromax tweak station is in the shop as well. So if you are interested, just check it out. I will show you now how to use the tweak station. Lucas taught me his secrets and how it's done in a good way. So let's get the video started. We will tweak my car now and I will explain you the steps you have to do until your car is completely dialed for the next run. So tweak station, let's go. So first of all, you have to assemble your tweak station, and we have two different parts. One part will be the part which will be floating and working in the front section because it has the included water scale here. And the other one is the solid part which will always stand on your setup board. And it's really important to make sure that this one here is absolutely straight, because sometimes when you're racing you get some pit tables which are not 100% straight. So you have to make sure that this one here is perfect, and you can adjust it with the two screws here, which you have to screw in, and then you can place the second part with the water scale on it to check that this one here is absolutely flat. You have the perfect solution here with the water scale. It's not a big problem to check it, and when it's not really 100%, you can adjust it with the screws until it is perfect. In the next step, you have to prepare this center rod, which also gets one screw for the contact with the setup board, and you have to adjust it here in the right way depending on the wheelbase of the car. And once this is finished, you have to slide the front part here with the bearings onto the rod, and then the tweak station is ready to use and we can start to tweak the car now. I will explain it in 4 different steps, and these 4 steps will bring you to a really good final result on the tweak station. So before I show you what to do in the first step, it should be completely clear that your car has to be prepared for the next run, because using a tweak station is always the last step of all the setup work you are doing, which means you have to adjust everything prior to this check: the ride height, the camber, the droop, all these things. You have to take care that your car is absolutely straight, that your top deck is mounted in a perfect way without any tweak, and all these things. So your car normally should be ready to go, and the tweak station is the final check to maybe adjust some slightly things to get the car even better on the track. In the first step now, we want to check, or we have to check, that your chassis is flat and straight, so that there is no tweak in the chassis itself. And we do it really simple. Just place the droop blocks on the tweak station and put your car on these droop blocks. This is a very simple solution to check that your chassis is not bent or not tweaked. Just have to center it a little bit here. You can do it with your eye measurement. There are really nice scales on the tweak station which you can use to center the car on the droop blocks. And when this is done, then it's really easy, because then you can check the water scale. And the water scale, normally is not lying. And you can see in this case that, just 1 second, it's not completely centered. You can see now that the car, or that the chassis is flat. It's flat enough. So the water scale is almost perfect in the center. Sometimes it's maybe a little bit because of the car not absolutely centered. So, but you can check this first to make sure that you don't have any problems in the chassis. And when this is done, you can start with the rest of the tweak process. This is the first step. Put the car on the droop blocks onto your tweak station to check that there are no issues with the chassis itself. So now we're coming to the second step. Remove the front droop block from the tweak station so that the front part here doesn't have a droop block on it anymore. The droop block here on the center part will remain during step 2, because now it's time to check the tweak of your front and rear of your car separately from each other. We are doing it by placing the car back on the droop block here in the rear, with the rear of the car at the moment. And the front end will be placed on the tweak board, on the tweak station, with the race tires on. So that will now allow us to check the tweak of the front. It's also always, once again, important to place the car as centered as possible on the tweak station. I'm again using the scale to do it. So we are here to 186 and 186, and here in the front it's 190. So when the car is placed on the ground or on the tweak station, you then use the water scale once again to check it. And here now you can easily see that it's not perfectly tweaked, because the water, the bubble here in the water is a little bit more to the right side than it should be. I would say it should be in the center like this. So we just have to adjust a little bit here on the front shocks. We need a little bit more spring preload on the right side and a little less spring preload on the left side to get the water scale better here for our car. And when you adjust the spring preload, you can do it in very, very small increments. Only a quarter of a turn or even less will have a huge effect, because the water scale is super precise and our car is reacting very sensitive to these adjustings. So now we can zoom once again, and you can see that it's now a little bit better. It's, I would say, almost perfect. Just need a little bit more adjustment. And when you adjust it, don't go crazy. Always turn a little bit, not too much, because we don't want to have too big gaps in the spring preload from the left and the right shock. When there are some, maybe 2, 3 or 4 tenths of a millimeter gap between the left and the right shock, that is not a big problem as long as the tweak is perfect. But when you have to maybe use a gap of 1 or 2 millimeter in the spring preloads, then something is completely wrong with your car, and you should check other things first before going crazy here on the tweak station. So now check it once again. Yeah, it's really good now. Maybe you cannot achieve it 100,000% perfect every time, but this looks really good now, and we have a good tweaked front end. Now we just turn the car around and place the front on the droop block here in the rear section of the tweak station. Just center the car out, and now we have time to tweak the rear of the car. Okay, now the rear is placed on the tweak board, And you can do the same with the rear as you did in the step before with the front. Tweak the rear independently from the front on the tweak station, and you can once again check the water scale here. Yeah, the car is almost good, I would say. We maybe have to go down a little bit on the left side with the tires, or we need more spring preload on the left and a little less on the right. Just adjust it a tiny little bit, and then you will see that it's even better now. I only can say that on the camera it's not always super good to see, but from my point of view now it's absolutely in the center. And yeah, now the rear is tweaked also in a perfect way. This is the third step. So now we are almost there. In the last step we remove the last remaining droop block from the tweak station, and now we use the tweak station in the classic way without any droop blocks on it. And now you can check the tweak of your car overall. A little bit kind of a cross check now, because now the car is with all the wheels on the tweak station, and you can check that your settings you have just done separately from front and right, that they are good. And sometimes you have to maybe adjust it a little bit once again, but I think now you can see that it's good, still good. And yeah, the car is ready to go now. Just turn it around one more time. It takes a little bit of practice and time to get used for working with a tweak station. For me it was the same when I did it the first 2 or 3 times. I never was sure if it's really correct what I'm doing, but when you try it and when you do it even more, then you get used to it. And yeah, here you can also see the rear is still good, in a good shape. So the cross check now is completed. We have done it in a good way, I would say. And finally, it is always important, once again, when you place it on the tweak station and you see that the car is maybe not perfect, and the car is showing a water scale maybe like this or like this, always keep in mind what you have to do, where you have to reduce and where you have to use a little bit more spring preload, because then it's really simple to understand how to adjust it. And always check that the differences here in the spring preloads are not getting too big, because then something else is wrong. But yeah, I think if you are doing it in this way, you will have a perfectly tweaked car. Some guys asked if it's okay to do it with the race tires, or if you always have to use setup wheels on the car. I mean, it's not easy to say. Sometimes I used setup wheels, but then I did it with the race tires and there was absolutely no difference. So for me personally, there is no absolutely need to use setup wheels. But if you want to use the setup wheels, it's definitely not a mistake. It's maybe, will give you the same result. But with the race tires, it will save you some time, and it's maybe to have the same effect and the same result in the end. So once again, just to sum it up, step 1, really simple: adjust the tweak station and make sure that it's absolutely straight. Use the water scale for that. Second step, you have to check with the droop blocks on the tweak station. You have to check that your chassis is straight. In the third step, remove the front block from the tweak station. Set the front tweak separately, set the rear tweak separately, and in the last step, remove the last droop block and check the tweak front and rear on the board, on the station, to make a cross check to see that the final result is good. So guys, that was the video for today. I think you can easily see that a tweak station is a super useful tool. You should get your hands on one if you don't own one until now, because in my opinion it makes it even more easy to get your car dialed in absolutely good. You can tweak the car without a tweak station, no doubt about that, but it is not so easy to see if it's really on point or if it's, I would say, 95% okay. With a tweak station it's more easy to make it visible for yourself with a water scale, and you can get that little bit of extra performance out of your car. When the setup is right and your car is tweaked, then you are dialed out on the raceway and you can nail down some really hot laps. That's the video for today. If you're interested in a tweak station, just check the ToniSport shop. There are some tweak stations in stock. You can get yours over there and tweak your car from now on in the absolute perfect way. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and until the next time, keep racing, and always keep in mind, race with ToniSport. You will never race alone. Goodbye.